You are listening to Vicky Goes On and On with Vicky Stokes and James Wells. So I said, okay. I went back to the house with my sister and my niece and spent £21 on squid.
Why squid?
Because my sister, on Saturday, I went to my sister's and she said, let's have calamari.
Oh, I love calamari.
You went robotic then, and it sounded.
So did you.
So, but it was like, I love calamari.
Sounds like a horror film, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. I love calamari.
Well, I will make you some calamari because I'm the best at it.
So I've been re-listening to the old stuff. There's a point where I'm asking you about, I want to come to your place and you can cook me paella. And you're like, all right. And I'm listening back to it thinking, well, I've just assumed because she's Spanish, she can make paella. But calamari is better.
I can't.
I love calamari.
Calamari is amazing. I'll make you calamari all day long, mate.
Bit of lemon.
I love that shit.
Lemon.
Oh my god! And it's such a simple, it's such a simple thing, but so easy to fuck up, in my opinion. Yeah. Like I never order it in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Never, because every time I have, either they use like tempura batter, which is so wrong, or I don't know, like the squid is a bit rubbery, which is awful, and it's just bland. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, and you can put this in the bloody edit. I'm gonna tell you the secret. You get an egg, you beat the egg, you get your squid, put the squid in the egg,
Yeah.
You get some flour, any flour, doesn't matter if it's self-raising or not. I mean, I've never done a taste test comparison, but like we just use whatever flour's around. And you add salt to the flour.
Oh, okay.
And then you put the eggy squid in the flour and then in a hot pan of oil.
Et voila.
Et voila. I don't know what the Spanish equivalent of et voila is. Ole, ole.
El voila. El voila.
La voila.
Sounds, I mean, I'm starving now you've said that. So, and I've
already
you
eaten dinner?
Yeah, I have eaten dinner. Yeah,
what did you have? Vegan burgers?
No, we do this thing every now and again. It's like it's a lot of chopped tomatoes, like from tins, chopped chorizo, in like a kind of stew casserole thing, with some chili flakes.
Thank you for the pronunciation.
Yeah, well, I am
very good. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yes. Us country folk, we know how to speak. But yeah, it's like a stew thing, and then you kind of make with the back of a spoon, you make a crevice in there while it's boiling, and then you crack an egg in it and let that do its thing. Bit of cheese.
That is
fucking gorgeous.
Well, without the cheese, that is huevos con tomate.
It's amazing.
And then what you've done is added chorizo. So huevos con tomate y chorizo.
So it's tomato and egg.
Eggs with
cheese,
with tomato.
Well, there's some meat and cheese,
and all sorts.
Yeah. To be honest, though, I mean, we have it quite a bit. It's so easy to do, and it is gorgeous.
I'm not a fan of huevos con tomate. I really liked such bland food when I was a kid. Like I didn't even like bolognese; it was too much. I would have spaghetti, and nothing else. But I've made up for that by now overeating everythting, but I'm doing slim fast.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not the best thing to do. I know that, but and it's not a long-term thing. But I just couldn't keep putting on weight, and I just thought, what's the quickest thing that I can do? I did 2 7-day starter kits and 2 7-day booster kits. I don't know what they're called, so that I don't even have to think about the snacks and it's just done. It delivers to my door.
What's it, Slim Fast?
And then Slim Fast.
Oh, well, they deliver it to your door?
Yeah, because I bought it on Amazon.
Oh, wicked.
Because Jeff Bezos needed a bit more money.
Well, you can buy the actual
like
the plan, the kit. the subscription on Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, why are we still worried about shops closing and high street stores? You know, you can
because I don't want
everything.
Jeff Bezos to have more money. I know.
But look at it in a positive way. Let's consolidate all these different businesses into one man. But that's
called a monopoly, and they're illegal.
Well, he's past go many a time. So
yeah, hasn't he just?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have, you know, the 2 meal replacements. There are bars, and there are
you like a bar?
packs of snacks. I do like a bar.
But preferably one with drink behind it,
with alcohol in it. Yeah. And you know, that's the thing, is to do it properly, because it's a short-term thing ordinarily. You know, because you're getting married or you're going.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have the meal replacement, and then a snack, and then a meal replacement and a snack, and then your very healthy dinner, and then a snack.
But surely, if you do it long term, or do it for longer term than the short.
Yeah, because it's something like 1,700 calories.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just eating my dinner.
Something, and
you 4 buds and a bottle of Jack Daniels is fine.
Yeah, but you're thinking, well, that's less than what I used to have, so anything's better.
Absolutely. Anyway, we were supposed to talk about Halloween.
Yeah, that's coming up. That's going to be uneventful this year. I mean, as uneventful as it pretty much is in England. It's getting bigger in England, isn't it? But it's obviously a big thing in America. Is it an American thing in terms of what's the origins of Halloween? In terms of All Hallows Eve and stuff.
It's Celtic, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's not even
an Irish.
So it's not even an American thing. It's just been.
Do you know what I think with America? I mean, just in terms of this.
Lots of this.
Yeah, just in terms of this, I think it's such a new country. It feels like they've had to make lots of traditions to sort of lend itself a longer history.
And also,
you know what I mean? Like
take the traditions
Columbus
of
Day.
Yeah. But take the traditions of other cultures and mash them up into
and make them their own.
Yeah,
that's what I think, because like Columbus Day. I mean, what the fuck? Who cares?
I mean, there's a day for everything.
Veterans Day, Flags Day. But a lot of that, I think, stems from America being so like, we need to have this celebration and this celebration and this celebration and this, because if you think about it, between sort of, I don't know, August bank holiday and Christmas, we have Guy Fawkes Night, Halloween, but Halloween we don't really do anything for. We let's say we do trick or treating, which is, I would say, the last sort of 30 years.
It's half-assed as well, though, isn't it, in this country?
It is really half-assed. And then Christmas and New Year's, and that's sort of it. Where over there, you've got Thanksgiving, massive. I mean, you got Halloween, massive. Thanksgiving, massive. Christmas, pretty massive.
But at least with Thanksgiving,
Hanukkah, massive.
But at least with Thanksgiving, that is a holiday that is of an American origins, so they're allowed that one.
Here's the funniest one. We call them fancy dress parties, and they call them costume
parties.
I
wonder why we call it fancy dress.
Well, because I was talking about this with Mead and David, and fancy dress does suggest, I don't know, black tie, a gown.
Yeah. Fancy dress is like
fancy.
But
it's not
a wedding.
We really don't mean that.
No. Fancy. It's not, is it? It's that's an English thing, isn't it? Fancy dress. Costume parties are, does what it says on the tin. You know what you're going to get.
But okay, but without knowing what a costume party is, i.e. that it's a fancy dress party, wouldn't you think that it sort of suggests a superhero costume?
No. Oh. I think that's because we've got quite a lot of superhero shit going on in the world, and costume has become embedded into the superhero genre.
I sort of feel like it suggests not homemade, where fancy dress because I know what it is. It can just be like, I don't know, some green tights and a hat, and you're like, I'm Robin Hood.
Well, that's a fucking shit, but that annoys me. People that half-assed like fancy dress costumes get on my tits. And not just Halloween, just, when everyone does a
don't invite me to your fancy dress party. I once dressed up as the Crow. I went to one fancy dress party. I dressed as the Crow because I owned black clothes and black eyeliner.
Do you know what? It's so strange that you said that, because I dressed up as the Crow once. Did you do the face
went
paint
through a
stuff?
goth phase?
No, because I really like the film.
Wow. I bet you really got the fucking clothes down. Like he's got
I had the black skinny.
I just had a black top that I used to wear anyway.
Did you do the makeup?
Yeah, that was the one thing that
okay,
I really
well, at least
did.
you did a bit of it. It's people that go, what gets on my tits is when people will turn up at a costume party or a fancy dress party, and they'll put a fucking coat hanger in their jacket, and they'll be like, oh, I've come as a wardrobe, or some bullshit like that. It's like, get out of my party. Go home and make the effort.
What do you think about the funny pun costumes that I mostly don't get? Like this. So somebody's dressed up with a name tag that says Life. Hello, my name is Life. And she's holding some lemons. When life gives you lemons.
That's not a costume. But you want people. You know that scene.
And then there's this lady. She's got lots of pictures of the same picture of cats on her, and she's a copycat. She's a cat lady.
Oh, okay.
No, she's a copycat.
No, she's a fucking idiot.
You see, like, there's something about them that I sort of, because I like to think I'm quite a funny. No, I like to think I'm a funny person, right? So there's a part of me that feels like I ought to like them because they're clever or they're funny, but they're not.
Yeah. Do you think that Halloween costumes should stay as traditional Halloween, like ghosts and goblins and vampires and stuff? Because obviously you see kids now, they're running around in superhero costumes and princess costumes and stuff like that.
I do think that deep down I do want them all to just be vampires and witches and ghosts and ghouls and demons, and you could be a princess, but you could be a zombie princess.
Yeah, I mean, but then
I'll allow that.
That's a Get Out, isn't it? So you can be anything and zombify it.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's fine because I like zombies.
Yeah, I mean, I guess everything can.
Or you could be a vampire.
Anyone could be a zombie, couldn't they? Like a vampire princess or something. But
yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. I just like like the scenes that you see in the American films, like in Halloween, or the one we watched the other day was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and and they're walking along.
Is that on Netflix?
Amazon Prime. They're walking along it's really good. It's not like scary. It is. There's creepy
kids,
scenes. It's for 15-year-olds, like soft horror.
Oh, but a 15 now is like an 18 10 years ago.
I know. I mean, Batman was 15 when it first came out. No, Batman was like 15 when it first came out. I think, yeah.
Was it?
I think so.
Batman with Michael Keaton?
Sure it was.
You carry on.
It was either 15 when it first came out, or it was classified 15 for video release in the UK. But yeah, I like that image of the kids wearing very traditional Halloween costumes, like the ghost sheet, and a clown or something, a creepy clown. I tell you what I don't like, which is up there
creepy clown's good
with pun fucking costumes, is these shitty fucking sexy costumes. Do you know what I mean? Like sexy Ghostbuster and sexy Snow White and sexy everything.
Sexy police officer.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to see that shit.
In 1989, the BBFC introduced the 12 certificate, and the first film to be given this rating was Batman.
what about their video release? Because I'm sure it was 15.
I don't know about that.
Can you Google, was Batman at 15? Because I remember, I mean, maybe it was 12, but I watched it. If it was 89, I probably watched it when I was about 5.
Yeah. Examiners made the case that a 15 would be too high and would prevent younger audiences who would be a natural audience for the film from seeing it. So
maybe I've misremembered that then. There we go. You've cleared up something for me.
But then this says in the UK, Batman 1989 is a certificate 15.
There we go.
Making it suitable. Yeah.
So
making it suitable only for people who are 15 years and over.
Right. But it goes back to what you're saying. If it was classified 15 in this country, 15s now, they're nothing, are they? You know.
No, but a 15 classification, it doesn't exist anymore. But a 15 now, I watch it and go, woo, this is, an 18. Is a Halloween movie a movie set at Halloween, or is it just like any scary movie? Because Gremlins is one of the scariest films still now. I don't care what the classification is. Still now, one of the scariest, funniest movies I've ever seen.
Yep.
But really, it's a Christmas movie. It's a scary Christmas movie, but it's a Christmas movie.
I would always say it's a Christmas movie because it's set at Christmas.
But would it be acceptable to put on like a Halloween list? No, probably not.
No. The only one that's acceptable for Halloween and Christmas is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
A Chrisoween.
It's a Chrisoween movie. That's what it is.
It's a Chrisoween movie. You see, Nightmare Before Christmas, I don't think of it as a Christmas movie, despite the fact it's definitely a Christmas movie.
Do you think it's more of a Christmas movie than a Halloween movie? I mean, the first song is Halloween, so fuck mine.
And I think that because of that, and I really liked that song, and I've only seen it once. Bear that in mind.
Sorry, you've only seen.
Yeah, I know.
Laugh.
I know. I've been
That's
too
like
busy
a staple every year.
Every day.
No.
For the rest of my life.
No.
Yeah, like in my head, even though it's definitely a Christmas movie, like there's no argument here.
Okay,
right?
you
in my head it's a Halloween film.
Okay.
Yes.
But you've seen the film once, but have you listened to the music more than once?
Yes.
Right, fine. Okay. I'll allow this.
And I really like This Is
Halloween. So because of that, you think it's a Halloween movie?
I feel like in my heart it's a Halloween movie.
I mean,
and also they're from Halloween Town. Right?
I was going to say he visits Christmas Town. He doesn't.
Yes.
He's from Halloween Town, and to be honest, most of it is set in Halloween Town. So,
and maybe that's why I sort of feel like it's a Halloween movie. I mean, I think it's perfectly acceptable, basically, to put it on either a Christmas list or a Halloween list. I wouldn't be like, what? How dare they?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what are the Halloween movies? The Halloween movies.
Halloween, Michael Myers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Halloween, and over October I like to watch as much creepy or Halloween related.
But like, I know what you did last summer is not a Halloween movie, but it's a scary movie.
It's a slasher movie, so that's valid. That's valid.
But this is my point, right? So a Halloween movie, I don't know. Is it? I feel like it's a subgenre of scary movies, and scary movies is a whole other. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but
I feel like a Halloween movie has to be set in Halloween or about Halloween, or have just witches in it or something. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that you have to be very specific about a Halloween movie. I Know What You Did Last Summer, not a Halloween movie. Scream, possibly a Halloween movie.
That's set at Halloween, isn't it? Scream, the first one is.
I don't know. Is it? Well, maybe that's why.
I think the first one is.
I used to be well into scary movies. so into horror movies, and now I just don't watch them. I only watch
Is that
comedies.
through choice, or is that? Are you thinking there's too much depressing shit going in the world and you don't want to watch stuff about death?
So I deliberately only watch comedies. Rom-coms are getting on my tits. So I watched a rom-com the other day that made me want to kill myself. It was so fucking, I can't even remember what it was called, man. This is how terrible it was. It was just so obvious. Or a Reese Witherspoon wannabe, you know?
Or Matthew McConaughey.
Basically, the only rom-coms I accept are
Paul Rudd ones.
Yeah. Basically. You know that weird one that he was in with Reese Witherspoon and Matthew McConaughey? That's such a weird film. What's it called?
Is it
we
something
discussed
about
it
this is
WhatsApp.
how you know, or something like that? How you know?
How do you know?
How do you know? How do you know?
Such a weird film. There's such a... I don't know. Anyway. But it's got Paul Rudd in it. Anything with Paul Rudd in it.
Well, Paul Rudd was
terrible.
He was in a Halloween movie, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yeah, in one of the sequels.
Do I have to watch it now?
Because he's in it. Well, it's the perfect time of year to watch it. I'm like, I mean, even now we'll watch a scary program or a movie, and I have to watch like an episode of New Girl afterwards, just to kind of relax.
Cleanse the palate.
But I mean, at the moment we're watching on Netflix. So I watched it last year, and I loved it, and it was very creepy, and there were parts of it that are quite dark and depressing. House on Haunted Hill. Is that Haunting of Hill House? Sorry,
yes.
The Haunting of Hill House, and I want to watch the new one that's just come out, Bly Manor.
The Bly Manor that I keep reading about, and everyone keeps complaining about the accents.
Okay, don't give me anything away.
No.
So I watched.
No, I'm not giving anything away. They're complaining about the English accents.
Well,
they are grading them and saying this person does a pretty good one. This person 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even know what this is.
Right.
So.
Fine. So, yeah, we've been rewatching that because Haley never watched Haunting of Hill House, so I want to watch that before we watch Bly Manor. And yeah, it's great. It's great, and you got an hour of really good television.
Very good things.
But again, afterwards, I still need to watch like a New Girl just to relax, but I still love all that stuff. I love Halloween. I love I don't know what it is I like about Halloween.
I'm more into things like the Twilight Zone or Black Mirror.
But do you not find that stuff like that's creepy? And that's the thing with Halloween, you can get away with quite a lot for Halloween. Like with Christmas, if you're reading a story at Christmas or watching a movie, it's fundamentally got to have something to do with Christmas. The only tangent, I think, are ghost stories at Christmas, but I think that stems from obviously being a Victorian tradition. So that with Halloween, though,
the thing is with the ghost story, the thing with the ghost story is there's always some sort of moral, which
trying to teach the kids
is quite a thing about Christmas, isn't it? Like be good.
Yeah, well, the biggest ghost story is A Christmas Carol, which we'll probably.
I was going to be funny, and I was trying to think of a funny ghost story.
Funny bones.
Like obviously, it's Christmas Carol that you were alluding to. But my brain just wasn't quick enough. I was trying to be like, obviously,
the greatest ghost story.
Great expectations.
But with Halloween though, it's quite. There's a wider net, isn't there? Because you can get away at Halloween with watching a ghost story, a slasher film, a monster film, which doesn't have to be set at Halloween. Or you could get away with watching something that is set at Halloween. Whereas Christmas is quite that one thing.
As much as I think I do still really like scary movies, but they have to be clever scary movies. The problem is that the whole slasher genre is then ended up with things like Hostel, which is just gross, and
Saw. It's
I mean, the first Saw was very clever, I thought.
The first Saw was a very like psychological thriller.
So clever.
Really clever.
I really actually loved it.
Wasn't that gory, let's be honest. But then after Saw,
no, exactly.
It's like, let's chuck loads of gore in it.
Then it goes into gore, and then Hostel like takes it to this whole next level.
Yeah.
And I think that's my problem, is it's like, okay, do I really need to see people's limbs being ripped apart and I don't know, sexual violence and mayhem, you know? Like, no, I don't actually. Like the first the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre isn't actually, if you watch it, there isn't actually a lot of gore in it. It's very scary.
A lot of it's suggestive, isn't it?
Exactly. And I sort of think that suggested violence and suggested fear and suggested horror is worse.
Yeah. Because it's like ripping a Band-Aid, isn't it? It's like once you see something, you're a bit desensitized to it. You know, I can watch horror films that I've watched many a time because I know the jumps and I know what, you know, if it's a gruesome scene, I know what it's going to look like, and I'm desensitized to it. With something that's suggestive, you've always got your imagination to fill in the blanks, and that's why it stays with you. Because which is worse because it does stay with you.
But also, like Get Out, for example, which I wouldn't really call a horror, but it's certainly psychologically
uncomfortable,
horrific.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's much cleverer because of that sort of quiet fear. And, you know, I don't need to see people getting their skulls bashed in and blood splurting everywhere.
And actually, that's not scary, is it?
No, it's just gross. I don't like gross things. I don't like gross humour. I don't like slapstick. I don't like
have you seen?
I like subtlety, bitch.
Have you seen Babadook?
No, I haven't.
Right, put that on your list.
Very good things.
Put that on your list for this month, because again, that's very suggestive. It's, you know, there's no violence or gore or anything. It's
that's the thing with like the Twilight Zone, creepy. Isn't it?
Oh yeah,
all of the scary ones are the creepy ones that you're like, oh,
with the twist at the end.
It's like it's like a discordant chord, isn't it? I mean, I'm not into music. I can't play music, but you know that kind of jarring bang, and you're like, whoa.
I used to love the Twilight Zone.
Go funny.
The original Twilight Zone.
Have you seen any of the new ones?
No, not yet. I think I like what I do like about Halloween is just not the darkness. That's the wrong word. I just like, I guess, the alternativeness of it for me, because it is a very unusual holiday, isn't it? When you're celebrating the darkness, you're celebrating, you know, witches and ghouls and goblins and ghosts and to a certain extent death. And I think it's obviously different in the Western world, or at least, you know, America and England, because in our cultures, we pretty much, everyone fears death. But then I guess if you look at like Mexican Day of the Dead, and it's more of a, I think it's a few days after Halloween, actually, Day of the Dead. But it's more celebration, isn't it? It's more a celebration. And
because Halloween is All Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
And then, you know, All Hallows Day is Los Dios del Muerto. Yes.
But we still fundamentally.
Do you not think
we embrace? Do you not think
that's,
don't we, in on Halloween?
And do you not think that's because it's from the fact that it's sort of the beginning of winter, right? Where things are dead for the year, you know, like all the
things are dying,
the trees have lost their leaves, and you know, we're at the end of autumn, so there's no more sort of powerful colors of leaves changing and all that sort of thing. It's things are now going into that restful period of the long winter, certainly in the northern hemisphere, in the north of the northern hemisphere, like we are. And I think that what we like is it signifies, or it sort of kicks off the drawing in to the hearth, to the home, of families, you know, and it's sort of that, it begins that lead up to Christmas, doesn't it? Where you're going to be sort of warm together, have a nice meal together, you know, you've got that to look forward to, and then the beginning of the new year, and looking forward to spring and life, and so it's that beginning, isn't it, of you know, things sort of drawing to a close for the year.
I mean, it reminds me of the you know, the ending of Fantasia.
No.
What?
I've only seen that once.
Oh, for fuck's sake! What is going on?
Know.
So it's very much like, you know, so they all the ghosts and the goblins, they come out for the one night, and there's mayhem, but it's one night, and then everything kind of settles down at the end, and before you know it, there's
winter.
like, well, there's nuns walking along
what the fuck? I need to watch Fantasia,
like a riverbank, and they're, you know, with lights singing Ave Maria, and it's almost like, you know, the Halloween has come, and winter's gone, and then we're merging into like spring. Do you know what I mean? It's very
yeah, it's certainly the beginning of what I consider to be a very cozy time of the year. But I do think that January and February are so depressing.
Oh, fuck.
We need something in January or February. I don't care which one, but we need something that isn't Valentine's Day, because that's just a fucking heartache, or for anyone. Even if you're in a relationship, is terrible.
Yeah.
Because there's so much expectation put on you, if you allow it to be. And then if you know what you're going to do, go for a meal that's just overhyped, overpriced, roses, overhyped, overpriced dinner, you know, like, so Valentine's Day ain't cutting the mustard with me. We need something else that's a sort of coming together of everybody. I quite like that in Finland, Valentine's Day is a friendship celebration day. And
what, solely friendship, or is it?
Yes. Lisa was saying to me, if you give your boyfriend or girlfriend something on Valentine's Day, you are basically laughed at. It's like, what are you doing? Go give that to your friends.
Really?
We're not friends. Yeah. It's for platonic friendships. There's nothing romantic about it, and I love it.
No.
I'm like, yes, that's what we want. A friendship day in the middle of February to bloody get us out of the doom and gloom of winter, because we have such long winters and they're grey. At least in Finland and Norway, they've got snow and it's bright.
I mean, maybe that's why Halloween's quite bearable, because you're coming just after the summer. Whereas, can you imagine if you had Halloween in January or February?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, suicide would go through the roof. Frankly, I hate January so much.
Yeah, me too.
And for people out there who want to do like dry January, I don't know what is wrong with you. I'm not saying get drunk every day, but why are you punishing yourselves in the worst month of the year? Why? You've just had like some lovely camaraderie and fun partying.
Yeah.
And then you're going to just be miserable for January. You may. Oh my god!
But this is the thing. I love Christmas. Who the fuck likes New Year's Eve? The reason I don't like New Year's Eve, and I don't like New Year's, and I don't like January, is because it means that Christmas is over. That's why.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know what I don't like about New Year's?
Everything's
parties?
Lovely leading up. Yeah, and then
I don't know if that's true, because I got arrested on Boxing Day, so I'm reminded of that for the last 20 years.
Let that go.
Listen, I still need to tell the whole story one day. This is not.
That's going to be a whole.
It will be. That's going to be. It'll be the crime episode.
Coming soon. Vicky goes on about getting arrested. That's what it's going to be. Definitely. So I want to ask you something now. Have you ever carved a pumpkin?
Yes.
Have you?
And I love it.
You like carving? You like the
I love it.
Process of carving a pumpkin.
I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it.
And what did you do? Everything, like all the flesh out of the? And what was
the only thing I never do is make anything with the flesh, because I don't really like the taste of pumpkin.
Oh, see, we're quite frugal and I don't like waste. So, we'll toast the pumpkin seeds. We'll make like a pumpkin.
My mum tries to do that and then it doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm just like, ugh. But often, or not often, but some years when I've done it, it's been after Halloween and the pumpkins are, 5p. Because I just enjoy doing it. I just think it's fun. I think it's a fun activity.
Do you do the traditional face, or do you go for a bit of an artistic? Have you done one?
Not today. I was closing the window.
I thought you were going to like present one from behind the curtain. Well, it's funny you say that. I've been all day. I've been.
I was thinking about it.
Image.
Do. I do the traditional crappy, jaggedy teeth, and the two eyes and the triangle nose. Normally, I have thought about trying to do the more complicated things, and you can get these transfers now that will help you as a guide. But I sort of feel like that's cheating with the thing, but I mean, I've got no.
I mean, I know what you mean. But then it's not cheating.
I'm stuck with a shit.
It's either that, or you're going on YouTube or Google, and you're finding pictures of people that have carved Steve Martin into a fucking pumpkin or something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly.
I mean, I wonder if there's been any Trump ones this year, because he's got the orange hair, probably. So that would work with it, and the orange face as well. So,
God.
He actually looks a bit like a carved pumpkin, doesn't he?
He looks like a piece of shit, and I hate him.
With nothing inside. With nothing inside.
Nothing inside except hatred.
Just a small candle vitriol. That's slowly going out.
I'm just sort of really surprised that he hasn't been assassinated yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, I would really love to do any design that isn't the traditional chonk chonk chicka chicka chicka.
Yeah.
For a podcast, do you think I would use words better?
Chicka chicka chicka.
And as somebody with an English degree and somebody who likes writing, I've put that in quote marks. Writing.
Yeah.
You think I would have more vocabulary than I do?
Yeah, but writing's different. You can take your time with writing. When you're saying words,
also,
you kind of say them.
I feel like certain words, certain onomatopoeic words, are much more evocative and imaginative.
Like chicka chicka chicka.
Like chicka chicka chicka. You know exactly what I mean.
Yep. I like it. Yep. They're boing or splurge.
Right? But you know what I mean when I say the T. Why not? Could be.
Please.
I mean, did you know what I mean by onomatopoeia?
Yeah.
I meant you knew what I meant when I said chicka chicka mouth.
Right. I was gonna say.
You know what I mean.
All right. I don't.
I'm not suggesting that you're a thick cunt.
Where do you stand on Halloween flavoured treats? I'm thinking of things like pumpkin spice lattes.
I don't like pumpkin.
But pumpkin.
So no, I don't.
But pumpkin doesn't taste like pumpkin when it comes to the spices,
pumpkin spice. No, forget it. I'm not interested.
There isn't much.
Susan is obsessed with all of them bloody Starbucks flavors.
Yeah.
Her favorite
other pumpkin spice lattes are available. I love the eggnog latte.
They may well be, but that woman doesn't.
I'll tell you what. Me and Susan, if I wasn't happily married, I may have proposed to Susan instead.
She is so obsessed with eggnog lattes, right?
I don't even know enough about her, but I would have said, look, you like pumpkin spice latte. I like this pumpkin spice latte. Let's get married. Yeah.
She is so obsessed with eggnog lattes that the local what used to be her local Starbucks in Maida Vale. She would go in there basically every day. They would serve her early, and they would be like, "Oh, yeah, we've still got some eggnog latte. It's cool. We'll give you some, but like actually it's not on the menu anymore."
Yeah, because it doesn't keep, does it? It doesn't keep.
Anyway,
so
yeah, no, I'm not into any of that. No. Unadulterated.
Do you think Halloween's just become a massive commercial thing?
Of course, all of them have. You know, everything is just a marketing
Money making.
opportunity.
Yeah.
All of it, everything. You know, when I was a kid, for example, Easter, you got some eggs. That was it. That was your lot. Then when I was about 18 or 20, I started hearing about Easter presents and Easter cards. And I was like, Easter presents? Easter? Do you mean an Easter egg? No. I got this necklace for Easter. You're not even religious? Like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on here.
Yeah.
And now it's like a whole hoo-ha. It's a whole thing. Christmas is already a pretty big marketing opportunity.
Yeah, that's presents galore.
Now there are these Christmas Eve boxes.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve boxes. What the fuck?
I haven't heard of Christmas Eve boxes. What are you talking about?
Mate, you wait for the next John Lewis advert or the bloody M&S one.
Do you reckon?
There's all this like, go on.
No, I was going to say, do you think people do Halloween boxes? Like, do you think people do Halloween presents? Like, here's a Halloween gift.
I bet you someone somewhere, and if not yet, it will happen.
Yeah. Oh, did you see what I got for Halloween? What?
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me, because you think about all of the things that one could buy already, you know, like the plastic pumpkin basket thing to go trick-or-treating, a whole set of, I mean, honestly, do we really need more specialized face paint makeup that is specifically for Halloween? No, we don't.
I thought
because
all face paint was the same.
You can just buy, exactly, but you go to your local supermarket. It doesn't matter which one. You go now, and I'm telling you,
it's branded,
there will be an aisle, and in that aisle there will be a packet of green, orange, black, white, and red face paints.
Yeah.
And it will have behind it a backing of like a spooky
evil
castle
clown
or a haunted house or something, and it will say Halloween face paints, where you could 3 months ago just buy those face paints in the same bloody packet without that branding behind it, just as that colour face paint, and it will be 20 times cheaper. And I think it's quite disgusting, actually, but particularly this year, because, you know, things are a bit fucking tight.
Well, they're gonna
for everybody,
but this year as well, I think, I mean, even more than it already is. I mean, I think, Halloween in this country, it's not as a bigger thing. It's, for me, I always found that, from where I come from, it was another excuse for scummy people to ponce off of others. If I'm honest,
glorified begging.
Yeah,
glorified begging.
Like literally, you know, like
knocking on people's doors.
Again, going back to like half-assed costumes and stuff. Like, I don't want to see some kid turn up in his fucking puffer jacket and whack on a mask and say trick or treat. You ain't getting nothing.
Oh, so
mate.
you get that too, yeah?
It's not just
my area.
Nothing. Like,
it's not just my area. Where there's like 17-year-olds wandering the streets with a plastic bloody, I don't know, Joker mask from Poundland.
Yeah.
And nothing else on their BMX, going like, hey, brav, trick or treat, innit?
Yeah. Go home.
Fuck off.
Do some basic fucking face paint. Maybe even sew something together and then come back to my door. And then I might give you a fucking Fredo or something.
I know I sound really awful, but my mum and dad's house, the front door is like on the street. And, you know, my mum and dad aren't particularly young people, and we've got dogs, so please don't knock on the door. And so for years and years and years, it was always just, you know, people would knock on the door and I'd be like, sorry, I don't have anything. And then, and, you know, we never got egged or anything like that. I never had any trouble. I got to about, I don't know, 25, and I said, guys, I'm just going to put a sign on the door that's like, sorry, we don't have anything, so please don't knock. It's, really disruptive. And the first few years I made like a little rhyme. I can't remember what I wrote, but I made like a little rhyme, and I put like a little Ghostbusters sign with like the sort of cross through the ghost.
Yeah,
but
no
not
ghosts,
the
no
Ghostbusters sign.
ghosts.
Yeah. And like, sorry guys, have a nice evening and good luck to you, but please don't bother knocking. We ain't got nothing. I've eaten all the sweets, so don't bother. Basically, trying to be funny, ha 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 ha. And it's worked a treat for many years. In fairness to the rude boys in my area.
Well, is it
But
still
I remember
working?
the first time. Yeah, it's always worked. I just put a little sign up that says, sorry mate, we ain't got nothing, basically.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time I sort of approached the family with this as an idea, like, hey, look, I'm thinking of putting this on the door. And everyone was like, nah, ain't gonna work. They're just gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse. And I was like, can we just try it though? Like, at least if we put it up and they do knock, we can say, look, I warned you, I ain't got no sweets. And it works.
Really?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll restore your faith in humanity for 10 seconds.
That's the thing. I don't like. I think if they were genuine and they were dressed up properly and you knew they were doing it.
If they were little 5-year-olds.
Yeah, that's fine. But then I'm torn because I love Halloween and I like whacking a jack-o'-lantern outside and celebrating. But then that's obviously obviously a beacon, isn't it? To say, yes, come to my door.
Particularly in the States, if you put a pumpkin on your porch, expect a knock. And I sort of agree with that. I think, yeah, that's true and that's cool. Would you be opposed to giving people sweets then, or are you okay with it?
I'd be up for that. But what annoys me in this country again is like as you say, the little 5-year-olds that turn up. I'm like, brilliant, because they've made an effort that a 5-year-old can. Whereas if you're turning up and you're 15 and you're wearing, as I say, a puffer jacket,
but maybe it'll be different in your new area.
On your way. Oh yeah, we won't get no one. There's like no one here.
All right, well then you go hell for leather.
Which I will miss, but at the same time,
you want.
I can celebrate again. I can go back to just celebrating Halloween on my own, watching.
You're such a grumpy old man.
Well, I'm not a grumpy old man at all.
You are. You're like, I just want to be by myself, all alone with my
I don't mean on my own, but what I would rather
with
do
your wife
is host a party here, a Halloween party, a costume party.
Well,
dress party.
No. Can we do a fancy dress party, please? Thank you.
With friends.
Okay, well, can we do that post-COVID?
But I'm not going to do it now, am I? I'm not allowed to.
No, I know, no, but
government have said no to all of this. You're tier 2 now. You can't be doing anything like that. You can't,
I don't host parties. It's a very small flat.
Well, of course,
two or three guests.
But you're always welcome here. So
I know, but I mean tier 2. I'm not allowed. But no. So listen. But what I'm asking you, separately to everything, is next year, can we have parties at your house, please?
God, yeah.
And I can stay, or if there's a local premiere in.
Look, shut up. You can stay. You'll always.
I don't need. But if there's a local B&B, no, I don't really like B&Bs.
You don't need to. You can stay here, so it's fine.
Just saying. But if you have 20 guests and 19 of them need to stay, I don't need to be one of those 19.
You will be
if
the
there's
first
a local
guest.
premiere in. Well, good.
Don't be stupid. Yeah. There's been no official announcement, but surely things like trick-or-treating are not going to happen this year.
Well, I was thinking about this, and actually, isn't it a pretty COVID-safe pastime? Because somebody knocks on your door, or, hang on, what if you just leave a bowl of sweets on your doorstep?
Well, I know from where I used to live, and I know from where you live, that bowl of sweets the first people that knock, they'll take it all. So,
Well, then they ruin it for everyone, and that's why we've got COVID.
But they can give a shit. So.
No, I know.
But maybe maybe we could spread COVID on the sweets and then teach them a lesson.
Or hang on. Let me think about this.
Okay, go on.
Only put 5 sweets out at a time, or use a cat flap.
just a hand, like shooting at. But then you've got to sit by the fucking cat flap all night.
No, because under normal circumstances, you still got to get up and go to the door anyway, don't you? So instead of getting up and opening the door, you get up and you shove some sweets out of a cat flap.
I read about some guy who in America created a pulley system,
right,
for Halloween.
Okay, we can do that then.
To like transport the sweets to the children.
The candy.
I don't know how it works. The candy. Yeah. Have you ever been trick or treating? Or are you too old or cool for that?
I'm very old and very cool. I went trick or treating once.
Were you one of these 15-year-olds in a puffer jacket?
No, I would say I was about 8, and some neighbour kids were going trick or treating, and I really didn't want to go, but I sort of felt peer pressured into it, and I felt very embarrassed knocking on people's doors and asking for sweets. I just felt like, I don't know, it made me feel really uncomfortable, the whole thing. The best thing about it was I had some sparkly black tights and fishnet tights, and I put the sparkly black tights and then the fishnet tights on top, and I made bigger holes in the fishnet tights, and then I wore some black boots that I had, and then I put on some long black top and some very dramatic Spanishy makeup, and I was a witch. That's what I decided. I mean, I wasn't.
I was about to say, what the fuck
I was basically a little baby goth girl, but I refused to accept that I was ever a goth, even though I wore very goth makeup.
Right.
For quite a long time. So people would be like, "Oh, when you were a goth," and I wasn't a goth, and I maintain that I wasn't a goth. When you were an
8-year-old goth.
Yes. Listen, The Cure are an amazing band, and God. If that's what being a goth is, then fine.
Don't even go there. They're one of the greatest bands ever. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and goths don't agree that they're goths, but every goth loves The Cure. So, shut up, goths. So I remember a guy that I sort of dated. I don't consider him to be my ex, but he considers him to be my ex. Anyway, he once said to me that he really liked goth chicks, and then very sort of knowingly looked at me, and I went, "All right," and he went, "That's why I like you," and I was like, "What?" I'm not a goth chick.
This wasn't when you were 8, was it?
No, that was when I was.
Thank God for that.
18.
Oh, okay.
Only 10 short years later.
Fine.
No, but I do remember getting a rich tea biscuit from somebody and thinking, "What the motherfucker?"
What, on trick or treat?
Yeah, I got a rich tea biscuit. What, also, I got about a £5, which was a fucking windfall.
Okay, we'll go back to that. But the rich tea biscuit, like,
yeah,
you're
just
telling me,
a rich tea randomly in a bag,
not in
just
any
shoved in my,
not in a wrapper or anything.
Nothing.
What?
They opened a packet of biscuits and gave us all one rich tea biscuit. I remember thinking, this got weird.
That wouldn't happen in America.
I was always
would it?
too I was always too full of thoughts about things. Do you know what I mean? So like I was just always questioning everything. So when they did that, all the other kids were like, "Oh, that's weird," and they carried on with their lives, and I was just like, "This is so peculiar." I just find this whole exercise has become even more eccentric than I expected, and I just don't understand any of it.
out of it?
Yeah, well, because we went to a lot of houses, and some people just gave us like 20p, 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 20p. There were like 4 or 5 of us. So if a couple of houses gave us all 20p, like a pound, basically, very quickly we built up about a fiver.
Nice.
I mean, each.
I mean,
but you've got to bear in mind.
You know.
No, well, listen, it was coin money, and I didn't know that coin money was shit compared to paper money. So I was already very pleased with 20p's.
Yeah.
My brother Mikey,
you feel like you've got a lot,
very
don't you?
quick. Yeah, but my brother Mikey, he knew very, very quickly that paper money was where it was at. And me, dumb bitch, I was like, oh, I have many coins. And Mikey, I remember once was saying, but this piece of paper is worth that amount of coins. And I was like, I thought I was richer
Yeah,
than
but
this.
you still had £5 for an 8-year-old. That's amazing.
I probably spent it on a lot of penny sweets. I mean, how many penny sweets is that? That's a lot of penny sweets. 500 pennies.
I don't think I would trust anyone in this country to
do
give me
maths.
sweets. Do you know what
But
I mean?
it's been proven time and time again that it's just not true that the razor blades and the poisonings.
No, but just like where they've been, what they've been how they've been looked after. I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like American trick or treating is a lot more wholesome, a little bit more family orientated than this
I
country.
think it depends on the area. I really do.
Yeah.
Can you imagine trick or treating in Hell's Kitchen in New York?
Well, that's Halloween in itself, isn't it? Surely.
No, I really do think that, if you lived in like a lovely little cul-de-sac in Surbiton, it's not going to be the same as if you do some trick-or-treating in Mozart Estate. I mean, it's just not.
Yeah.
When my older brothers were younger, the big thing was penny for the guy.
They don't do that anymore, do they?
No, because trick-or-treating took over.
Right.
But they were telling me that the best thing to do would be to go to St John's Wood, which is a very affluent area in London, for those who don't know, and get penny for the guy in St John's Wood, and they would walk away with tons of money.
Yeah.
And I was like, you little bitches. Yeah.
It's money making.
Penny for the guy. But at least with those guys, with my brothers, you had to make a guy, so they at least made something and then would wander around with, I don't know what they did, maybe they put it in a pushchair or something, and be like, penny for the guy. And they got money, cash money, baby, in the 70s, maybe 80s.
When you could do these kind of things. No, I remember seeing penny for the guy.
I mean, nowadays there's paedophiles everywhere.
So I mean, they're So have you got any
paedophiles? No.
Have you got any paedophiles in your
Zero area? Paedophiles.
Well, speaking of, I was going to say, speaking of monsters.
Speaking of paedophiles.
Have you got any favourite monsters or favourite scary films or favourite ghost stories or scary books or anything that springs to mind when you think of?
That's such a good question.
Well, no, just anything.
I'm normally trying to ask you these.
Well, no, it's only because I think this is probably one of the things that you and I have never really spoke about. We've never really spoke about scary things or scary movies. And I'm quite intrigued. Like, is there anything that you like from I mean, I know you've already said like Twilight Zone and stuff, but I
really like urban legends. I love them so much. I think they're fascinating. I mean, just as a genre, the movie's all right, but just as a genre of story, they're so cool. I went through this phase when I was a teenager where I would read anything that was about an urban legend. And I really wanted to write a compilation of like retellings of urban legend.
Yeah. Would it be like a word for word retelling, or would it be like adapted to stuff?
No, it would be like like a story, but like a friend of a friend told me that this is what happened.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even more so now with the internet, we just hear it so much, don't we? Oh, well, someone who goes to my doctor's vet said, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, this is going to be good. I remember when I was younger, there was this story that, so and so's auntie, like a friend of mine said to me that her auntie's friend was in the supermarket, and in the car park of the supermarket, somebody selling perfume approached them and said, would you like to smell this sample? But it wasn't a perfume sample. It was something like chloroform. Ooh. And they got like, they lost consciousness, and then when they woke up, their bag was gone and their car was gone. And so you need to be sure that you're like not approached by people with perfume samples, right? Here's the thing. Chloroform does not act that quickly. I mean, it you've got to really bloody smother somebody with it. I've checked. And then when sort of Facebook, maybe a little bit MySpace, but when Facebook really started kicking off, and these sorts of chain letter stories started reappearing again, I was like, I've read this story. This is an urban legend. None of this is true. None of this has ever happened anywhere at all. So, so I find urban legends fascinating. There's one that I really like, and it was one of the ones that I wanted to rewrite and make it into a sort of longer narrative, where there's a girl and she's got a dog, and every night she's so ridiculous. The dog licks her feet just as she's going to bed.
I think I know where you're going with this.
You know this one.
Yeah.
I know you know this one. And this one night, she's in the house alone, and the dog licks her feet, so she feels, safe that the dog's there with her and nothing bad's going to happen. And then she hears this drip, 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 but the dog licks her feet every time she goes to investigate. So she's like, okay, I'm safe with the dog. And then she hears this drip, drip, drip. And then the next morning, she comes into the bathroom, and the dog is strung up, and his throat's been slit. And
the drip drips the blood
on the wall. Yeah, the drip drips the blood, and on the wall it says, humans can lick too. Yeah.
It's them campfire stories, isn't it?
It is, exactly. And let me tell you something about humans can lick too. A human tongue feels very different than a dog tongue.
I mean, I've never. Dog tongue's pretty much the same as a cat tongue, though, isn't it? It's quite.
No, a cat tongue is scratchy scratch.
Yeah, but a dog tongue's not.
It's scratchy scratch. A cat tongue is scratchy. A dog tongue is not scratchy. But the difference between a dog tongue and a human tongue is it's much, much longer, bigger, and thinner. It's just different. I've had many a lick from a human and a dog, not at the same time. Yeah, but there are just so many that I like. I've got all these books that are like urban legends.
I mean, you love Stephen King.
Paul was coming. I do love Stephen King.
So surely watching some Stephen King or reading some Stephen King during because, for me, Halloween's the entirety of October. So, I'd get in a few Stephen King.
I think the thing about Stephen King, I think what I like is the humanity in them rather than the scary bit, and maybe that's what makes them scary.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because with the humanity, it's something you immediately have something you can relate to.
I've got lots of Stephen King on this shelf here.
Which probably goes back to what we were saying about the gore versus the more suggestive. Is that a lot of the suggestive stories almost give you something you can relate to? because they're letting you do a little bit of the work,
yes,
aren't they?
Yeah,
and almost putting you in the shoes of the person that you're watching on the TV or on the big screen.
I'm trying to think.
The character feels uncomfortable, and you feel uncomfortable. You know.
I think it's that discomfort that I find more sort of worrying, if you like, more sort of fretful. You know, so I suppose, yes, I do prefer horror literature because I do really like zombie stuff, but that's more about the breakdown of society, which I think is scary. Stephen King, yes, I love Stephen King. I like James Herbert.
Yeah, I do.
I like Dean Koontz. Yeah, I think what it is the move towards sort of just slasher / torture porn horror is what I found sort of troubling about the horror movie genre. Because although, say, Nightmare on Elm Street is obviously a slasher movie, like by its very nature, because he's got a bloody slasher hand.
Yeah.
It, in a lot of ways, it isn't just a slasher movie, is it? And also, Freddy is quite funny. He's quite sarcastic.
Yeah.
And I think that he's a sort of very good character. I mean, good isn't obviously the word. He's not just this sort of scary monster.
Yeah.
You know, I tell you, one of the worst, scariest movies I've ever seen. Wolf Creek. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, and it's based on something
terrifying.
Yeah. The guy is very
And I think that what makes it more terrifying compared to Freddy is we don't know anything about why he's doing this. He's just a sort of
he's just a
real
fucking nutter, isn't he?
Serial killer, right?
Yeah.
And there's no sort of rhyme or reason. Yes, it's sort of loosely based on the backpacking murders that sort of plagued Australia. The thing with Australia is it's such a big country, and so much of it is not populated.
Yeah.
And I find that's so
creepy
scary
in itself, isn't it? You know, anyone could get lost there. Do you know what I mean?
Because the thing with England or Britain, and I suppose even the island of Ireland, is it's quite small, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So even if you're in the middle of nowhere, if you've got the energy to, if you just keep walking, you will find somewhere. But in the middle of America or the middle of Australia, you can walk for the fucking a week and not find anybody. And I find that terrifying.
Yeah.
Although I have been hiking before in the Scottish Highlands, and well, not the Highlands at all, but it felt like it to me. And I remember hiking, being like, I'm so cold and I'm so tired, and we were in a bog,
right?
And it was like snow and bog. And I remember thinking at one point, just leave me here to die. It'll be fine. I know that we were only 10 minutes away from a town, but it was so hard to get out of this bloody bog that I was like, I'm done.
I can't imagine you hiking.
Oh, I go for many a long walk.
Oh, no, I'm not saying about walking, but I can't imagine you in the hills, is basically what I'm saying.
No, I could. Yeah, no, I do it.
What? That actually reminds me.
I enjoy it at the end.
Considering we've been talking about scary films and horror films, and now you're talking about hiking, the one film you ever mentioned is American Werewolf.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it?
I suppose. I mean, because that's not an overly scary film, is it? It's creepy, I guess, in a lot of ways. It's definitely funny.
But but also there's something about werewolf movies that do you know the movie is it In the Company of Wolves or The Company of Wolves?
I know of it.
Is it In the or is it The Company? Anyway, it's a great movie, and there's like a whole sex scene that I remember being quite titillating when I was a child.
Yeah.
And there's this scene with like a bowl of milk and a drop of blood, and it's a really weird artsy film. And that and American Werewolf, they both have that long shot of the werewolf turning into a werewolf, and at the time is like amazing special effects. And I'm sure if I watched it now I'd be like, well, obviously, but maybe not actually, because some manual special effects are still very good.
I was going to say, I think American Werewolf still holds up with the transformation. So
I bet it. Yeah, I bet actually, because they're real, if you like, you know.
Yeah.
Those are the bits though that are sort of scary, you know, like, yes, they murder people, but that isn't the scary thing, is it? It's the transformation scenes that are scary, in my opinion. And is it because it's about losing your humanity and becoming feral? I don't know. Is that too deep to think about? Is that
I was just about to say, so you look at it quite deep, don't you?
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
like, I watch a zombie film and I'm like, oh, this is about.
Yeah, but do you know what though? I mean, I do find watching things like The Walking Dead is because it's a lot of it's so steeped in humanity and humans' reactions and feelings and emotions towards all that kind of stuff, and to death and things like that. I do find it quite deep, if I'm honest. I mean, I know everyone really knocks things like The Walking Dead nowadays, but there is something quite deep about it if you do think about it too much. And I guess as well, when you look at any old horror
I think that's
film,
the point, though.
Yeah, but
I think that the problem is that most people are missing that that's the point.
Yeah, a lot of people are looking at it in terms of like, oh, it's just something to do at Halloween. It's a bit of fun, and it is. It's all,
or it's scary, or it's this, or it's that. Like Day of the Dead. Is that the one where they go to the mall, or is that Dawn of the Dead?
I thought that was Dawn of
the
the
original.
Dead. I'm sure that was.
It may well be, because the one with the only black guy in it is the survivor, and then he gets shot.
Yeah.
It's like a real it's a real talking point about racism in America at that time.
Yeah.
Right? That's the fucking point of that whole film. The one where they go to the mall, the point is that George A. Romero is making is that this sort of mindless capitalism, that people were just drawn to the mall despite the fact that they were fucking undead, right? I know that, let's say zombies, right? Let's just talk about that genre for 1 second. I know that it is base and trashy, but actually, in my opinion, the point of them is, and certainly originally, is a bigger talking point about society. In my opinion, zombie movies or zombie literature, zombie fiction, they're trying to make a point. Vampire stories are trying to make a point. Everything. I mean, look, I'm sure that there are some trashy artists out there who are just being hacks and just trying to whack out a bloody whatever zombie novel, or whatever. But like, Stephen King is making a point, Dean Koontz is making a, like, they're all sort of talking to something deeper than they're all dead. That isn't the point of horror. That isn't the point of literature. That isn't the point of art. That isn't the point of movies. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is always something deeper. And I know that it makes me sound maybe a little bit wanky to be like, oh, well, like, art is like making a point and it's saying a thing. But art is making a point. It is saying a thing. And whether or not you see it is sort of beside the point. Maybe I am thinking too much, but the point is that you can look deep into a text and get so much out of it. The Walking Dead isn't just about some zombies. It is about humanity and what makes us human, what makes us civilized, and how quickly that can disappear.
Yeah.
And how it is a choice to be like, I want to make something good.
Some people can see the deeper meanings in this stuff, but other people,
I was going to say about Halloween that, like, do you also not think, I mean, you touched upon it earlier about we're removed from death in the Western world, and Halloween is still I think originally and still now is the only sort of time where we confront our mortality. You know,
I think we
we are
think about it a lot
all
more, don't we?
at Halloween, yes, but you know, it's the one thing that we're definitely going to do, all of us. It doesn't matter how rich or poor you are, that's the one thing you're definitely going to do. And it is terrifying. We don't know what's beyond, and it is comforting, isn't it, to think that there is something, whether it be ghosts and ghoulies and or heaven and hell, and you know, we don't want to go to hell, but you know, we want something to be beyond this plane, and it is the time of year where we confront that.
The possibility of something
Yeah,
else.
yeah. I think at the core, the sort of especially the original, let's say, celebration, it is really important to have it, I think. And I suppose that is why it does upset me that it's sort of just an excuse for glorified begging now, because it could be not necessarily somber, but it could be a time of year where we sort of acknowledge that there is something other, there is something beyond, and we don't just have to put on a plastic mask from Poundland.
Yeah. Well,
and get rich tea biscuits from your neighbours.
Which, you know,
Definitely don't get rich tea biscuits.
you know.
I mean, rich tea of all of them. Hobnob, yeah.
Oh,
But a rich
a
tea, come
little
on.
bit of chocolate on a biscuit.
Give me a fucking hot. If you like a lot of chocolate
on your biscuit, join our club.
I fucking love a club.
Yeah, me too. Nice orange one or one with raisins in.
Oh, mate, I really like the one with raisins.
Mm.
Because of this whole Slim Fast hoo-ha.
Yeah.
A lot of it is very sweet, so that's great. But oh, mate, I would stab a man for a Snickers. I'd stab somebody for a Snickers and a fucking kebab.
Well, don't go out on Halloween saying that. Usually, you say
Not in Kilburn.
Treat.
Not in fucking Kilburn.
Please don't. But yeah, do you know what though? You make a good point when it comes to.
I always do.
Well, you do, but you know, with like even it's easier, isn't it, with things like Christmas and Easter to reflect and look at. You know, you can look at Christmas as a time to be with family and to think about the year that's gone by, and with Easter you can look at spring and new beginnings and all that. With Halloween it's a little bit more niche, and maybe we could twist it in a way where one, you could look at it in terms of, as we've said before, how Mexico looks at Day of the Dead and looks at death as a celebration, but you could also look at it in terms, I mean, the amount of trick-or-treaters I see, like the kids, and they turn up with their parents who are obviously got a chaperone, these 5-year-olds, because they can't be walking around the streets on their own. But then maybe look at it as maybe
Pussies.
like a parent and child time, a time when they can get together. I don't know. I mean, I think it's quite. I still feel like it's quite a new holiday, and that there's still.
It certainly is.
Things.
Yeah. Well, the way in which it's being celebrated is certainly very new. But I think maybe if we go back to the sort of Celtic origins, that might be a way forward in a lot of ways. The sort of Irish folklore and myth element is so interesting anyway. That sort of pre-Christian idea is so much more fascinating. Even though I'm a heathen atheist, I think myth and legend are so important for humans and for society and for civility that why not go back to the origins of it?
Yeah,
because I think that would just be so much more interesting for people anyway, instead of just putting on a plastic mask and being like, hey, give me some sweets, bruv. Wouldn't that be nicer altogether? Because it would make it a much more, I suppose, reflective time. But then people don't really want to be reflective anymore, do they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything's about materialism and getting. And I think that's a shame.
But materialism and getting is pretty much what Halloween is now.
Yeah, but if we go back to the roots, then maybe we'll get something sort of more. I don't know. I don't want to say spiritual out of it, but something more substantial.
It, you know, I mean, there is, I mean, regardless of all the commercialism, Halloween has never been huge because if you think, I mean, you know, and I'm looking specifically at the UK and the Western world, but two of our biggest holidays are Easter and Christmas, which are steeped in, you know, Christianity. Whereas you've got Halloween, which is obviously, you know, paganism and stuff. And it's very almost like looked down upon by Christians and Christianity.
You say that Christmas and Easter are steeped in Christianity, and you're absolutely right, but they were hijacked from pagan times.
Yeah.
The problem is what other Christian celebration? Because the thing with Christians, right? The key word is Christ.
And I guess that's my point. Is that
what else has he
does
got
that
going?
mean the reason why they haven't backed Halloween?
Well, what else can you do for him?
It's not about
his birth and death.
Well, yeah, but Halloween
what else did he
really
do?
about anything Christian like, is it? I mean, a lot of Halloween you associate with evil, devil, and that's what I mean. If Halloween was more of a
but look, Mexico is a really Catholic country,
but their attitude to death is different.
Yeah, so
you know,
is that not more of a problem because it's Protestant?
Possibly.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's a Protestant problem,
Yeah. I mean,
rather than a Christian problem.
Yeah,
which is
I mean, I suppose I was generalising it, but you're right. If you're, I mean, if we're getting...
I mean, I don't know what the Halloween traditions are in Spain, though. So I can't.
Well, I was going to ask you actually.
I don't. You know, I'm thinking. I don't know.
And it makes me wonder whether Halloween is a massive Western thing. You know,
Spain is in the West.
No, but I mean, when I say Western, I'm you know, I'm talking.
You mean Anglo-centric? You fucking.
No, sorry. Yeah, I'm talking about the UK. I'm talking about America, possibly Australia.
Yeah, you're being
Australia. I don't know.
You're being a wasp about it. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still coming over for calamari. So.
Yeah, mate. Calamari, and I'll cook you Vicky chicken. That's all I cook anyone. Vicky chicken. I mean, there are different kinds of Vicky chicken. The key ingredient is chicken thighs. We've discussed this before.
We have discussed.
The thigh is the best bit of a chicken, and much maligned, in my opinion. Right? It's a good bit of meat. Listen, you have my thigh, and you're gonna like it.
Okay.
I was trying to think of what other specialities.
That's a sound bite right there.
Isn't it? That's the advert.
Yeah.
That's what I should put on Tinder.
You're going to have my thigh and you're going to like it.
Have my thigh and you're going to like it. I also make steak a lot for people. I'm trying to think of what I cook for people when they come over.
Patatas bravas?
No me gusta patatas bravas.
No?
Nah, it's a bit funny. I do like Spanish chips, and I'll make a banging
what are they?
Spanish
They're not
chip.
polenta chips, are they?
No, they're potato chips. It's just there's a way that one would make them that makes them Spanish. Basically, the cut is different. I describe it as when you get the potato and you go shuka 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 shuka, which doesn't help. There's no physical description that goes with that. It's just shuka shuka with the potato. So it's kind of bits of potato.
Is it like shredded potato?
Yeah, but this isn't it. It's okay. You take a potato.
You chukka it.
Wait, I'm gonna try and describe it.
Okay.
you take your knife, you hold the potato, you cut the potato in half to the middle, but don't cut it all the way through. Ooh, right? Okay. And then you turn your knife 90 degrees and you do that again. And then you kind of you just kind of cut chukka the whole bit of potato. So it's like bits of potato. It's not neat. It's not, I wouldn't say, oh, quarter the potato and then thinly slice, and it's nothing as exact as that. You just
it sounds more complicated than just cutting up a potato for
nah,
chips.
man, it's not. It's not that I promise.
No wonder Spain's fucking economy's fucked. If your chefs are spending time sugar in a fucking
and listen, right?
I would have
wash that potato.
I would have gone on.
No, listen, just listen.
I would have gone elsewhere to
then
find.
You wash that potato, then you put salt on the raw potato, and then you fry it.
Right.
Let me tell you, son.
I bet it's lovely.
Good fucking potatoes.
Yeah, I bet it's nice.
All
right, well, I'll have.
And I'll make you.
I'll have it all.
You'll have it.
A massive meal. Massive chicken.
And I'll make
Vicky
you
chicken, calamari.
Vicky chicken.
Sugar
I'll
potatoes.
make you Spanish chicken, which is different because it's got a sauce, and then you can have that with the chips. Or would you rather a meatball in a tomato sauce with the potato?
Yeah, you can add that on as well. We'll have that as well.
You're just gonna have like tapas, but it's all full meals.
Yeah.
Instead of little snacks.
Tapas for giants. Yeah. Massive tapas.
All right. I'm just gonna give you all of the things.
All of Spain.
And then you take it all in a Tupperware back home, and you can eat it for weeks.
I'll eat it that night. Fuck it.
Yeah, you would. I'll just be sitting drinking, and you'll just be eating like a. You'll have to take so much insulin though.
That's all right.
That's going to turn into complex carbs. That's spiking your sugar.
But because I don't do it all the time, I'm allowed a treat every day, every now and again. So
every day, I'm allowed a treat every day. I don't think that's a treat if it's every day.
This has been a Head Full of Straw production of Vicky Goes On and On with Vicky Stokes and James Wells.
I love calamari.